Hi Hammers fans. In context, I've been a Hammer since, well, as young as I can remember. I'm 56 now. Remember attending with my dad an 80s Cup final, which was brilliant. And then it formed full circle, and I took my daughter, who was 22 at the time, and we went to Prague. We didn't get tickets, but we were in the fan park, and it was amazing. Albeit we were lucky to win that game. Brilliant from Paquetá and through ball to Bowen. And it has been poor. But let's face it, we go back a while, don't we? When we played brilliant at home to Liverpool under Moyes for maybe 2 seasons and a bit. Really, a lot of the football has been really poor. And once he lost that attacking edge, where we were quick on the counter attack, good in defence, and like the season before, we were awful in defence, awful going forward. Similar this year, not much difference, but I will put a bit of perspective on that. But Gonzo just put I don't know, he didn't anger me. I don't get worked up too much, but he put in his Lopetegui worse than Avram Grant, and I thought, oh, interesting, okay. But looking back at Avram Grant's season in 2010-11, he got sacked a game before the end of the season. So he played 37 matches, managed 37 matches. He won 7, drew 12, lost 18, and we had like a minus 27 goal difference. Goals for, 43, goals against 70. 33 points, we were bottom, got relegated, obviously. And I worked that out, and that's basically a 19% win rate, a 49% loss rate. Now, the season so far under Lopetegui, and yes, it has been pretty bad, most of it, and we've seen the odd glimmer. We had a game against Ipswich, one half, where we were okay, but again, defensively, we're naive, and they could have scored 2 or 3 at that point. Newcastle the same, but and also the Crystal Palace game, which I think probably was a better game overall if you had all the minutes of playing up. But we did show a little bit, of what we're capable of under Lopetegui, but sadly it hasn't continued. And December I was beginning, because I often say you've got to give him 12, 15 matches, yes, and to be fair, he's under pressure. He had about 130, 50 million. Yes, not all his decision, but he's head coach, and the board have backed him. So there's more pressure there than a lot of other clubs. But it is difficult. There's a lot of new players, 8, 9 new players come in. It is difficult to bed them in. It does take time. I think we are often, I'm just as guilty, quick to, say let's sack them. But I always said let's give him at least 10, 15, maybe 15 games. And I must admit, I was starting to think, what do I see here? That what everyone's saying, that there's just doesn't seem any plan, no blueprint, no idea of what he wants, etc. So it wasn't. It's been looking bleak. For me, I'm very patient, but yeah, I thought, this isn't good. But when we look at comparing Lopetegui to Avram Grant, it really doesn't. Well, it doesn't really hold water. And let's face it, we're still only halfway through now. Looking at Julen Lopetegui's tenure so far in charge, we've played 20, we've won 6, drawn 5, lost 9. The defence looks as poor. It looks like it's run into similar, and he needs to. That's one thing he desperately needs to sort out. Goals for 24, goals against 39, and minus 15. A goal difference. That he's already got 23 points after 20 games, compared to 33 in total for Lopetegui. So he only needs 11 more to beat that record. And we've got, 18 games left? Now, his win rate actually is currently 30%, 11% higher than Avram Grant. 45% loss rate. Yep, he's pretty similar to Avram, but he's 4% less at the moment. So if he carries on that trajectory, he's going to do better than Avram Grant. So he will have to do really poorly in the next, if he gets all of the season, in the next 18 games to be as bad as Lopetegui. So I know Gonzo probably put that as a talking point, and it is good because it gets people talking. But I mean, it is wrong to even measure that really, because he's not going to be as bad as that. And as I've said, we wanted a change. He wasn't my person who I wanted as manager. He doesn't excite me particularly, but we'd had enough of Moyes. We'd watched terrible football last year. Certainly wasn't any better. I think it's similar but slightly worse. I mean, we were shipping loads of goals last season. Now, interesting. I just wanted to make a comparison with the game yesterday. Now, I've heard a lot of people, and I understand because we've got a very low view of Lopetegui, but I tried to look at it sensibly in a way of not blinkered. And if we forget what we've seen before, I know it's difficult, but we look at that one game in context, and it looked awful to start with because Bowen was injured, and we all thought, this is awful. But actually, it forced him to play. It forced him to play Somerville on the left, Kudus in his proper position on the right. I would have put, I think Gonzo said Guilherme, or would have put Paquetá or someone else up front, but full crew played up front. But straight away you saw a better attacking threat, pace, people in the right positions. And to be fair, I watched, often my stream isn't that good, but I got a good stream yesterday. I watched all of the game. Yes, a really bad mistake. That's the third goal against Man City. But generally, attacking play and possession, well, it looked good without me looking at the stats. It was really, really promising. I think we went there, and the guys, I thought, generally put a shift together. They played as a team, which is something we haven't seen much of. And we had an attacking threat. And yes, there were shots off target generally, but we had a fair few shots. And I don't think many other teams, I know it's Man City, and yes, I agree, they're nowhere near, particularly when you look at Liverpool, nowhere near a top team at the moment in what they were. But they're still a decent team. And I don't think they didn't play as good as they can, which Pep obviously says. They're not as good as they were. They probably need to make some adjustments in the transfer market and next summer, but they are still a damned decent team. And there's not many teams that will have the possession that we had and the chances that we had. We'll see, but I don't think there is. So, I thought that was a positive. Yes, we've got to see a continuation of this, but in one game, I thought that was a lot better. Now, going forward, Lopetegui needs to have the cojones, as we say, and the balls, to think, right, this shape is better. What have I got to do when Bowen comes back? Well, I think the difficult thing is he's got to drop. I don't think he can drop Bowen. Can he play Kudus? Probably in the middle, up front, instead of full crew. But he's got to play some of them on the left. He was amazing. His pace, including Kudus, I know he was a bit selfish, but he still looked dangerous. But I thought we had a real attacking threat and pace that quite frightened the Man City defence. Gave him something to ask, you know, it gave him a question to ask. So he's got to start playing Somerville, and he's got to play Caduce on the right now. He's, you know, he can't play Caduce on the left anymore. He just cannot. And if he continues to do that, then I agree. You know, he doesn't deserve to be our manager, and that's true. So that's it basically. I don't want to go on and on, but just just out of it context, and we remember how awful Moyes was for a good 2 seasons, and the last season was terrible. I just look back at Moyes' Premier League record since he come the second time, and he was appointed in the, you know, December, I think it was 1920 season. So all the games he played against City and the stats. So if we look at February 2020, we lost 3-0. Sorry, no. We lost all the games. But basically, I'm just looking at the stats. In February 2020, we had 3 shots on target. Sorry, 3 shots. None of them were on target. 22% possession. That's the lowest of all of them. Passes 254. Okay. February 2021. We lost, obviously. We had 9 shots. 3 on target. 36% possession. Passes 394. November 21. We had 5 shots. 3 on target. 31% possession. 330 passes. May of 23, we had 6 shots, 2 of which were on target, a 31% possession, 327 passes. May, the last time we played them, end of the season, 3 shots on target, 2 on target, 28% possession, nearly as low as the 22%. 307 passes. Now, looking at Lopetegui in the game that we've just had, the same game away to Manchester City, we had 17 shots. So the most David Moyes got out of all those games was 9. We had 17. 4 were on target. That was more than any of the other games under Moyes that we had on target. 44% possession. The highest was 36 at the Etihad with David Moyes, and 433 passes. Over 100 more than I think 327 passes was the highest. Under Moyes. So there you go. You know, I know it doesn't take much to beat David Moyes' season last season, because it was bloody awful. But I haven't looked back at other games against City, going right back to the Premiership, but I thought it was interesting under Moyes because he was the last manager before. But Lopetegui, that's a vast improvement. Only looking at this game, and that's a vast improvement on David Moyes' time when he played Man City. And I must admit, against Liverpool, we did raise a white flag under Moyes, and let's face it, every game we played against the Big Six, we did always raise a white flag. And I thought it would be like that yesterday, but I thought we gave a bloody good go, you know. A lot promising, and we looked more fluent than I think maybe in the 1.5 against Newcastle, something like that, but we looked fairly fluent in both halves. I thought we gave it a good go, but yeah, we let 4 in, which muddies the waters a bit, but I'd just add context for you. I mean, I'm not overly happy either, but I just think sometimes we have to we have to look at the facts and the stats, and they do tell us a different story. Cheers. Hope all is well in the West Ham family, and see you again soon. Bye.